Hello there, Algebra students. This is Mr. Kashi speaking. As you can see, we're going to go through the lesson on a video today. We're going to be going through the lesson on 9-8 factoring by grouping. We'll go through the slides here. Don't have a whole lot of examples. You should have some notes printed out for you that you can add to. And if those aren't distributed by now, you can get those out. And if attendance hasn't been taken, go ahead and do that now too. Go ahead and pause this video whenever you need an extra minute or whatnot to jot some notes down. So we're gonna we'll turn in the assignment. We won't correct the assignment today. I believe that should have been on 9-6 worksheet or something like that. And notes on 9-8, and then we do have a worksheet after maybe a little bit of IXL practice as well. So we're gonna skip the warm up. And we're factoring polynomials. So we've done the AC method already, and factoring by grouping is basically a version of the AC method. And in a weird way, even though we're moving on to a new section, I believe this concept actually gets easier because we've already had plenty of practice with the AC method. So in this case, we have a 4-term polynomial, and in this case, we would call this a cubic polynomial that has 4 terms. Cubic because it has a leading degree of 3. And so just like the AC method, what we're going to do is we're going to take all 4 of these terms and we're going to actually split it up into 2 different sides here. We're going to have the left side and the right side. So on the left side, we're going to start there. There is no common factor because remember there is a 1 out here in front of that y to the third. And then we have plus 3y squared. But they do have a common factor of y squared. So what we're going to do is we're going to factor out a y squared, and then we're going to have our parentheses, and we're going to write in what is left. So from this y to the third, we took out the y squared, and so what's left here is just one of those y's. And then after here, we took out the full y squared, but we did not factor out a 3, and so the 3 goes there. So the y squared was already pulled out there, but the 3 has to come down. Then moving over to the right-hand side, just looking out the 4y plus 12, we're going to factor out the largest common factor, the greatest common factor, and that would be 4. After we factor out the 4 came out, and the y stays. Y stays there. And then 12 divided by 4 would be 3. And as you can see, just like what we did in the AC method, the expressions inside our parentheses are the same, and that's how we know we did it correctly. So half of our answer is going to be what was inside the parentheses, so that's y plus 3. And then what we factored out of the other side, the y squared, is going to combine with what we factored out on this side, the 4. And so our other factor, or other half of our expression, is going to be the y squared plus 4. We just take those two and we put them together, and they get their own parentheses. Just like always, you can check your answer by multiplying it back out. In this case, it's a little easier. Y squared times y gives you the y to the third. Y squared times 3 gives you the 3y squared. 4 times y gives you the 4y. 4 times 3 gives you the 12. So this factor by grouping is actually pretty easy to check mentally at the end. Okay? Just to have 2 more examples to go through. So in this one we have 4n cubed plus 8n squared minus 5n minus 10. So we're going to start out with that same method. We're going to split it up, and in this case you want to make sure that that subtraction symbol goes with the 5 because we treat that as a negative 5n. Okay? So if we're just going to start on the left-hand side here, the largest common factor that we could pull out is 4, and then we can also factor out an n squared because that is that's the most that we can factor out. We can't factor out an n cubed because this 8n squared does not have 3 n's to factor out. So here the 4 was already factored out, so we don't have a number, and 2 of the n's were taken out, so all we have is an n left. And then we have 8 divided by 4, that is 2, and the n squareds were already out there, so we just have n plus 2 in the parentheses. Okay, and then going to the right side of the equation. This looks a little bit different with these subtraction symbols, but remember, we want this to be n plus 2 in the parentheses there. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we factor out a negative 5. So if we take out that negative 5 there, then the n can go inside the parentheses. And then a negative 10 divided by a negative 5, that would be a positive 2. And so now that's how we get that n plus 2 inside the parentheses. That's one of our terms. And then our other term would be 4n squared minus 5. Okay, and you can multiply that out, and you should get back to our original expression up at the top. Okay. Now I want you to take this time to complete this next one on your own. So go ahead and pause the video so you can have that time to work. Now that you have time, you've had time to work, we're going to go through this on the board here. Okay, so just like we had started before, we're going to split this up. That negative or that subtraction symbol goes with the 14, so that makes that negative 14. Now on the left-hand side, we don't have a common factor. There's really a 1 out there. We can't pull anything out. I mean, technically you could say you're going to factor out a 1, but that doesn't help us a whole lot here. But we can take out the w squared. Okay? And so here, the 2 stays here, and we've taken out 2 w's, but that third w has to stay with the 2. And here on the right-hand side, with the 1w squared, we've factored out everything we can, and so we have to just leave a 1 behind. And then on the right-hand side, we have these negatives, but remember, we need a positive inside the parentheses in order for them to match up. So we want to factor out a negative 7. And we can't factor out a w because the negative 7 on the right here, that there is no w there, so we can't factor out a w. So negative 14 divided by negative 7, we get 2w. And then negative 7 divided by negative 7, that's where we get the 1. So now we have the 2w plus 1 in both parentheses. That's how we know we did this correctly. We have 2w plus 1, and then we take the 2 that we factored out from each side, and we have y squared minus 7. And that's how you would factor that cubic polynomial. Okay, so hopefully those examples were helpful. You should have plenty of practice with IXL. You want to get to a score of 50 or more before you get the worksheet that will be due next time. So hopefully these examples helped, and please use them to guide you through both your IXL and the worksheet that you have today.